Welcome to EDD 918, Organizational Systems and Behavior. My name is Ryan Mears, and I am your instructor for this course for the next 7.5 weeks. And this is just a quick little introductory video that I put together just to orient you to the course, kind of walk you through the highlights, and I'm going to try and keep it brief. My introductory comments as far as the content are in the next video that you'll watch there for Unit 1. So this is just to focus in on how I have laid the course out. I'm not going to go through the syllabus. I figure you can read through that. Please let me know if you have any questions about the syllabus or assignments and things like that. I am going to cover briefly the major assignments for the course here in this video. First of all, the way I've set up the course, and I hope this makes sense to you, is if you will look at kind of the main course page there with all of the modules laid out, you'll notice that at the top of the page, of the modules page, I have general course information and major assignments. And again, what's in there is that information. So you have the general course information, the syllabus is there. I also have a tab there for course questions. And the idea behind that is a place for you to ask questions that are kind of broad, general. Maybe other people would have a similar question. Now, if you have a really specific question about something for you personally or related to your assignment that you're working on, please feel free to send those to me via email. And I can answer those that way as well. But this is just more if you're wondering kind of general requirements for like the final paper. That may be something somebody else is wondering about. So feel free to put those in there and I keep an eye on that. And then you'll notice the grading rubric for discussions. Please familiarize yourself with that rubric. And there are 12 total discussions. So it ends up being about 2 a week. This first week, technically, there are 2. One of them is not graded. That's the course introductions. Just introduce yourself. That one's not graded. And then the other weeks, most of the other weeks, we have 2. So just keep an eye on that, but you'll see how that is graded. And then we get into the major assignments. So reading response 1, reading response 2, and then I'm going to skip the book report for a second, and then you'll see reading response 3 and 4. The instructions are all in there. I'm not going to go through those right now, but basically those 4 reading responses cover the reading of the textbook, the Robbins and Judge textbook, and I just ask you to read through certain chunks of them for each of those responses, and then you'll give me some feedback, some things you learned, and again, the specific directions are in there, and as always, reach out with questions if something doesn't quite make sense. So there's 4 reading responses, each worth 40 points. And then we have the book report there that is due April 6th. And there's a list of books in there that you might want to use. You could choose to use that relate to leadership, to organizational behavior, organizational life, things like that. So I'm defining that pretty broadly for this book report. Feel free to find a book that you would like to use. My list is not comprehensive. It's not meant to be. So please feel free to find another book. If somebody recommended one, let me know and say, would this work? And 99% of the time when I have students do that, it works just fine. So you can look at that. And now that is a narrated PowerPoint, or a narrated presentation. Whatever software you choose to use is fine. But you're just going to walk me through. And again, you'll see the instructions in there. There's not really a written component to that per se. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. That's just to, again, deepen our knowledge and further our knowledge about organizational life and what people are writing about. And then the final paper. And I'm going to do, I think, a separate video explaining the final paper assignment. You can go ahead, and in fact, I would encourage you to go ahead and take a look at that. The instructions are in there, but I'm going to try and maybe help clarify things even a little bit more. The final paper, let me say it this way. All of these assignments are open, and you don't have to wait for the due dates to get these done. So like the reading responses, if you're like, I just want to crank through those here even in this first week or 2, great, get them done, turn those in, then they're off of your to-do list. The final paper, I would go ahead and look at it, start thinking about it. That's one, though, you might want to wait a couple of weeks just because you are going to need to relate that paper, the content in it, to some of the concepts, at least one of the topics we talk about in the course. So just to give yourself a little bit of time to get familiar with those things. It is a doctoral paper, so it's a little bit longer, so you do want to start on that as soon as possible. But again, maybe get familiar with some of the topics a little bit more first. Now, I've had different feedback about this, so I'm trying it this way. I have all of the major assignments under their own heading. I do not, and you'll see the due dates for them. I do not put the major assignments then in each week's module. I've had feedback both ways. I've tried it both ways, and some people like them in the modules, some people don't like them in the modules, so I'm open to what you would say, but I want to make it clear, please keep an eye on those major assignments that are up top and the due dates, because you won't see them appearing in the week by week modules. So then as you scroll down and look at the modules, I'm hoping other classes have been set up this way, but each one I do a little bit of an written intro as far as what this module is about, and then for this first week, you see I put at the top there the discussion for introductions, but then I'll have slides for each module and then the lectures. The lectures I'm redoing all of the lectures, and I'll come back to that in a second. I'm going to try and keep them as brief as possible, shooting for maybe about 15 minutes per lecture, and usually try to have 2 or maybe 3 per module just so that I don't overload you with those. And then you'll have discussions. And you'll notice again this first week the discussion is about reading. So there's extra reading. There's some articles, I believe, for this week. There's 2 articles that I'm having you read, maybe 3, that you'll read and then respond to the question. So in some of there's always a reading discussion for each module, and then some of the modules have an additional discussion about a topic or a posed question, or I might have you watch a video clip or something like that. Again, please reach out with questions. All of the discussions, what I'm asking you to do is, and again, I think this is fairly standard for Clarkson courses, to have your original post completed by Thursday night each week by 11:59 p.m. Central, and then you will then respond to at least 2 of your classmates. You can respond to more than that, but at least 2 of your classmates, you'll respond to them by Sunday night of each week by 11:59, and our weeks run from Monday morning through Sunday night. That's our week. So please help your classmates out with that too, because it's a little bit hard if you've responded and you're waiting to respond to others, and people don't get it in there till Sunday afternoon. So I just ask you to try and help each other out. And those discussions really are important, because a doctoral class is built around discussion. Where the advantage we have in this course is it's online, it's asynchronous, you can do it on your own time. The disadvantage is we lose out on those in-person live face-to-face discussions where you can really kind of expand your own knowledge. So please use our discussion boards for that, engage there, and I think you'll find that very beneficial. So that's really what I wanted to orient you to with the course. I hope it's laid out pretty easily. Or pretty easy to follow. Let me say this about the lectures. As I mentioned, I'm re-recording all of my lectures, trying to shrink them down, update them a little bit. So for right now, the first 2 modules are open. I am hoping that even by the end of this week, I'll have module 3 up and running. And so I apologize if you're a person who, I want to watch them all at once. Sorry. But you can go ahead and start working on those other assignments, and then obviously working through each module, and I'll try and have those up as soon as possible. Again, let me know if you should have any questions that I can answer, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you on the discussion board.